Black Hearts in Battersea by Joan Aiken, Chapter 6. When Simon returned home to his lodgings the following evening, he saw Miss Dido Twite, thank you, viewer, for correcting my pronunciation of that, in her nightgown, looking out rather forlornly from the front window into the twilit street. Her face brightened immediately at the sight of him, and as he entered the house she put her head around her bedroom door. "Watch you, my collie," she greeted him hoarsely but joyfully. "Hello, brat, what's the matter with you?" Simon inquired. She was flushed and had a long red stocking wound around her throat. "I have the quinsy," Dido croaked, "and Ma and Pa, and Pennylope, and Aunt Poke, and Aunt Tinty, and everybody has gone off to Theobald's Fair, and I'm that put about and devilled and blue-devilled. Mean, hateful things they are. I wish they was all dead." She stamped her bare foot on the floor and her lip quivered. "There was to be a flaming lady, too, and a two-headed sheep, and performing fleas, and giant carnivorous crocodile." "Here, don't you think you ought to be in bed?" said Simon, anxious to avert an explosion of tears, which seemed imminent. "I'm sure if you have the quinsy you shouldn't be running about in your nightgown. Come on, I'll tuck you up." "Will you stay and play cribbage with me?" asked Dido insistently. "All right, only jump in quickly." She retired through the doorway to a very untidy ground-floor bedchamber, evidently shared by the two sisters, for as well as Dido's meager collection of playthings, it contained curling tongs, copies of The Ladies' Magazine, and a great quantity of frilly garments strewn about in a state of disrepair which plainly belonged to Penelope. "Now you sit there," ordered Dido, jumping into a skimpy, disheveled bed and patting the coverlet. "Here's the cribbage board. We shall play. Shall we play for money?" "No, we certainly shall not," said Simon reprovingly. "Besides, I don't for one moment suppose you have any." "No, I haven't a toss it to my kick," said Dido, bursting out laughing. "What a hum it would be! What a hum it would have been if you had won. Come on, you can start." They played for an hour, Dido winning all the time, largely because she was prepared to cheat in the most unabashed manner. Then she began to get restless and peevish and suggested they change over to Lou. Simon, who thought she ought to get some rest, proposed that he should straighten her covers and leave her to try to go to sleep, but she raised vehement objections. "I don't want to go to sleep. I don't want to be left alone. There's too many people come into this house at night, walking about and bumping on the stairs." "I don't believe there's a soul except us," said Simon. "You're not scared of ghosts, are you?" "I ain't afeard of anything," said Dido with spirit. "I just don't like people walking about on the stairs and bumping. They clanks too sometimes." "Shall I get you something to eat or drink?" Simon suggested. Dido thought she would like a drink of hot milk. "Ma said she'd leave a mug of milk in the kitchen, but I'd sooner you hotted it. My throat feels like someone's been at it with sandpaper." She gave him a pitiful grin, looking more than ever like a small molting sparrow. Simon found the Twites' kitchen, a huge, gloomy room in the basement. The mug of milk was on the table, but it took some hunting to discover a clean saucepan. The fire in the range was very low, and the coal scuttle empty. He returned to Dido and asked where the coal was kept. "In the cellar. Doors back of the pantry. Mind you go down the steps, they're steep," she croaked. "Ma won't let me go down there." There were some half-used candles on the kitchen dresser. Simon lit one, took the hod, and went down the steep, narrow cellar stairs. There was another door at the foot, which was locked, but the key was in the lock. He opened this and cautiously entered the darkness beyond, holding his candle high. His foot struck against something metallic which clinked on the stone floor. He lowered the candle and was astonished to see a musket, and another, dozens of them, neatly stacked. And beyond the muskets were barrels of a greyish substance, which Simon, by feel and sniff, holding the candle at a safe distance, identified as gunpowder. The room was a regular arsenal. He found a heap of coal in one corner. Thoughtfully he filled his hod and returned to the kitchen, locking the cellar door behind him again. While he mended the fire and waited for the milk to heat, he pondered over this discovery. No wonder Dido heard people bumping and clanking on the stairs. No doubt about it, the Twites must be Hanoverian plotters. bent on removing good King James from the throne and bringing in the young pretender, bonny Prince Georgie, from over the water. The milk came to a boil, and remembering Mrs. Cobb's special, he took some aniseed and took the mug to Dido. She sipped the hot drink gratefully while he beat up her pillows and straightened the blankets with clumsy goodwill. "Now you must try to sleep," he ordered when the mug was empty. "You've got to stay with me till I go off," she countered. She looked hot-cheeked and heavy-eyed, ready to fall asleep at any moment. "Very well," said Simon. "I'll blow out the candle." "No, don't do that! Put it over on the cupboard where it won't shine in my eyes." "Lie down, then." She curled up, sighing with her back to him, and he placed the candle on the cupboard. As he did so, his attention was caught by a small drawing pinned on the wall. He held the light close and saw that it was a sketch-portrait of Dido, done roughly but full of life and animation. She was sitting on the front steps, eating a piece of bread and jam. Simon let out an exclamation under his breath and studied the picture intently. The style of the drawing was unmistakable. It could be by no other hand than that of Gabriel Field. He looked at the lower right-hand corner, where the doctor always signed his initials, but saw that the whole corner of the paper had been neatly removed by somebody's thumbnail. He put the candle down and returned to Dido, intending to question her, but she was so drowsy he had not the heart. "Kind," she whispered hoarsely. "Nobody else." Her voice died out. She took a firm hold of Simon's hand and sank into sleep. In any case, what would be the use of questioning her? She would only tell lies about it. Best to mention it to Mr. Twite in the morning. It offered complete proof that Dr. Field had been in the house to see Dido. And seen Dido. Had Dr. Field stumbled on some evidence of the Hanoverian plot and been put out of the way? Dido stirred and suddenly opened her eyes. "Where's your kitty?" she muttered. "I've lent her to a lady called Mrs. Cobb." "Why?" "To catch mice for her." Dido lay silent. Presently, a large tear rolled out from under her closed eyelid. "What's the matter?" "First the donkey went, then the kitty went. Next you'll go. I don't have anyone nice to play with. They allus leaves." "I shan't leave," Simon soothed her. "You go back to sleep." But as the words left him, it suddenly occurred to him to wonder what would happen if the Twites realized he had seen the arms in the cellar. Would he, like Dr. Field, mysteriously disappear? Dido's eyelids flickered open, then shut once more. Her breathing slowly became deep and even. Her clutch on his hand loosened. 15 minutes went by, and then he judged it safe to slip his hand free and stand up. As he did so, she moved and muttered in her sleep. "Can't tell, you see. Pa would larrup me." "Never mind," said Simon softly. "I think I know," and he tiptoed from the room. And we'll pause there.